Thank you very much, Council President. And I'd like to invite Grace to come on up as we're highlighting heroes and folks who are trailblazers in our community. It certainly is important for us to recognize the work of Grace Jo. And as you heard from our Council President, Grace Jo is a Montgomery College student studying to be a dentist. And so some might think the story ends there. But there always is more to the story. And it's just very interesting that right now in America on our national stage, quite frankly, globally, we're talking about the president and his potential meeting with North Korea's leader. And we talk so much about nuclear proliferation and the challenges with expanding a nuclear regime in another country. And what has been eclipsed is the humanitarian crisis that continues to exist in North Korea. And the reality is though, while we are talking about the potential bringing down of some potential nuclear weapons, what has not stopped is the persecution of innocent people in North Korea that happens every single day. So I want to share with you a little bit of the story of Grace Jo, and I want her to be able to tell a little bit of her story as well. So I'm not going to give you all the details, but Grace actually spent the first 7 years of her life in North Korea and lived there during the Great Famine of the 1990s. And during that Great Famine, if many of you aren't aware, over 1 million people died from starvation, including her father and her 2 younger brothers. Her family risked everything to try and leave North Korea and escape, and they became undocumented immigrants in China, something we know all too well here in Montgomery County about the challenges of being undocumented. And unfortunately, were taken in by authorities a number of times and sent back to North Korea. But Grace was also jailed. She was in jail at the age of 15 for 13 months. And it's interesting because, you know, Grace's mom and the strength of her to continue to fight for her family, they finally were able to escape and come here to the United States. And, you know, Grace worked hard to become a citizen and get her high school diploma and learned English. And that could also be the end of the story. But there's always more. Because Grace decided that she would be a crusader for others who are suffering persecution just like her. Many people who are dying as we stand here today in North Korea because of the ruthless dictatorship that goes on there. And we have to make sure that we're talking about this issue and not just being blindsided by the fact of what may happen in their nuclear capacity, but in reality, that humanitarian crisis that exists and innocent lives that are lost each and every day as a result of this tyranny. And so Grace decided to start an organization called NKNUSA that provides not only support for refugees that are living here in the United States, but also helping those who are continuously persecuted in North Korea. I'll just share with you guys that the county executive who was here earlier and I went to South Korea. Unfortunately, Grace's story isn't unique. You hear many people who have escaped to South Korea who tell the same stories. Families lost, shattered, divided by a dictatorship there that continues, and no one is talking about that because everyone's so focused on the nuclear aspect. We have to remember what's going on there and what's happening to those innocent people who live in North Korea. I'm going to turn it over to Grace before I read the proclamation, Grace, because I want you to share your story and your inspiration about what made you decide to start NKNUSA and tell a little bit about your story. Grace Jo, everyone.
Good morning. It's my great privilege to stand here in front of Montgomery County Council and President, Vice President, and council members are sitting here, and I'm sharing my story here in front of everyone. It's my pleasure, and I don't know what kind of great appreciation I should share today. It's unimaginable. First of all, I would like to thank everyone here today, and also I want to thank to my mom who brought me to here in the United States and grant me a freedom. And I feel like freedom is very valuable and very precious. And because of freedom, America is great. And because of a great America, it's possible for me to speak out to the people and share my people's struggle and tragics. I wish my voice can reach to the world and we can rescue those people who are suffering and dying. And that's our goal, and that's our family's main mission, because we survived. We are here, we found the freedom, but it's not, and we have to fight for those freedom. North Korean people, they are dying without freedom, and they're dying because of the country. Our country are denying us, but United States are accepting us and granting us the freedom. So I feel very appreciative to America, and I feel very honored to be Montgomery County citizen as well. And I would like to thank to my professors who grant me the opportunity to travel places, to be able to speak out, and teach me and help me to develop my knowledge in America as an American citizen. So thank you very much for everyone who gave me this proclamation. Thank you.
So let me read this proclamation. I'll try and go through this quickly. Whereas Grace Jo, a young woman born in North Korea, whose family struggled daily to find scraps of food to survive during the Great Famine in the 1990s that took the lives of her two brothers who died of starvation, and whose father was tortured and starved to death for the crime of leaving the country in search of food for his family in China. And whereas in 1998, on Grace's 7th birthday, her mom made the difficult decision to leave North Korea, taking Grace and her sisters into China, hoping for freedom and a better life. And whereas for 10 years, her family hid in China as undocumented North Koreans who were fearful of being discovered, and during that time, Grace and her family were caught multiple times and repatriated to North Korea, spending time in both Chinese and North Korean detention centers, and where one of her sisters went missing and was likely sold into human trafficking. And whereas finally in 2006, Grace Jo, her sister Jinye, and her mom were granted protection by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Beijing and allowed to enter the United States as legal refugees in 2008. And whereas today, Grace and her family give back to those who are still suffering through the nonprofit organization NK in USA, North Korean Refugees in the USA, founded by the family with a mission of rescuing refugees escaping through China, helping with resettlement in the United States, and raising awareness. Grace does this work while also studying full-time as a Montgomery College student. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby honors Grace Jo for her courage and tenacity, for encountering and overcoming indomitable odds and using her experience to help other North Korean refugees by providing needed resettlement support, financial support, and services so that they can survive and thrive in the United States. It's presented this 24th day of April in the year 2018 to a personal hero of mine, signed by our council president, Hans Riemer. Congratulations, Grace.